And we are live. Welcome, everyone. I am Rebbetzin Bat-Chen Grossman from ConnectedForReal.com, and this is Tova. And Hallelujah's here. She says hello. Here's Tova. Tova, let us know. What do you do? Introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you. First of all, thanks so much for taking out the time when your kids are home, running around crazy, to have me on. And I completely get it, like we were talking about before. But I'm Tova Eastman. I am a personal trainer and fitness nutrition specialist. And actually, what I do now is very, very different than what I've done for the past 8 years before this, which is what classic personal training and nutrition coaching. And we actually have an academy now full of tons of incredible coaches, and we help women truly build a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. And we specialize in busy women and busy moms, who I'm sure many of you guys out there can relate. That like, I want to be healthy, I want to feel better in my body. Those of you who have businesses and like, but I just don't have the time. And that is like our sweet spot. That's essentially what I've done with my life, with having 3 kids and a business busier than ever, and making sure I still make health a priority. And that's what we care to help other women with as well.
That's amazing. And you're part of my season 3, which is all about women who are working with their husband on the same exact business. And I want to get into that because it's so juicy. There's so many things that could be challenging. And yet, the majority of women who are in season 3 are saying, you just have to know how to do it. So we're going to really crack that. Tell me, how does your husband fall into your business, and what do you guys do together? Like,
Okay, so this is a really interesting time to catch us, actually, because it's been an entire transition process. I would say we launched the academy 2 weeks before the first COVID lockdown. He had a full-time job working 10-hour days, and we just realized, as my clients went completely online, he needed to work 10-hour days. I was allocated with the kids with much less time, and my business was way more impactful, and just making such a bigger difference. So we actually did the crazy, scary move. I don't know if any of you out there did that over COVID, where he quit his job and he joined the team, which was like a dream of ours for so long. Like, one day we'll work together, and it happened way sooner than we thought. And he essentially handled all the back end things, everything. Like, any of you, I'm sure everyone here is business owners, right? Women who you work with. So it's like the fun stuff that you do, whether you're a coach or that I'm a coach. So, and then there's like dealing with the accountant and organizing things and tracking things and all of those things that you're like, how does that take 50% of my time? So he took over that, and it was amazing. But actually, this is kind of, I guess, a teaser in a way. By the time people watch this, it'll be not a teaser anymore. But we've gotten such incredible feedback from the women that we're working with in wanting to change their, like, the differences their families are seeing in their health and spreading, that they're all being like, our husbands need this. Like, our husbands are saying, how do I get in Ignite Fitness Academy? And so we're actually going to be launching a men's division in the next couple months. And so we're in a transition phase where now he's managing basically all systems in the company to transitioning to a coach. So basically, anyone live watching this, I haven't even announced this to like anyone. So this is huge, and we're not even taking applications yet because we're launching in January. But essentially, he's transitioning to that coaching role, which is something that he's like a natural born coach. Since he was 9 years old, he wanted to be teacher coach, and he just thrives in it. And it's like almost his opportunity now to bring that to fruition. So to answer your question in a really long way, that's kind of what we're doing now.
I love that. I love that. So you started the business, grew it, got it to where it is, and then it just made so much sense for him to join. And
Yeah.
what is the biggest challenge of working together now that you're actually doing it?
Okay. The biggest challenge across the board for working together is separating our work and our relationship, because our work isn't just work. It's something we're both super passionate about. And the more he's moving towards a coaching position, the more he is. And so we notice so many of our conversations, like we're having a date on Friday night and we're talking about this, and then we start talking about health. And then, oh my God, and then I have this great idea for coaching. And it like morphs into each other. And we're like, no, we have to keep ourselves separate. And so it's about building those boundaries and knowing, okay, we're going there. Let's stop doing that. Because otherwise you almost live your work, and as much as it's a mission for us, like it's a passion, you have to be an individual separate from it. So that 100% is our biggest challenge.
Okay. Sorry, I muted myself because there was background noise from my daughter back here. I love that you said that. That is, by the way, the number one most common problem is how do we make us time that has nothing to do with the business, that separation, which is so huge. So do you feel like work? Oh, hello. Uh, do you feel like you have those systems in place, or how are you creating them? Like, what is your way of putting those into daily life? Because in theory,
Yeah.
it's nice to know we need boundaries, but what does that look like?
Yeah. So actually, we're in the process of building it. So I don't want to hop on and be like, I have all the solutions here. This is exactly what we do for anyone listening. But there are certain things we're putting into play. So first of all, at specific, like first of all, Friday night, like when our kids go to sleep, we have what we call a date, and we make sure not to talk about that. Like, and if we do, we're finding like, okay, we notice we're falling into that. So we ensure like this is, I think, setting specific times where at this time we don't talk about it. Because it's hard for at least for us to set a boundary like at this time of day, because sometimes we haven't spoken all day and there's certain things we need to relate to each other, and it's like you kind of feel boxed in, like, oh, remember to do that tomorrow. Or if we're going out together, right, it's like not, I know David, like even if we'll go out and like to pick up the kids together, and he's like, put away your phone, you're not taking care of work things right now, we're talking and it's just us and we're blasting music in the car and whatever it is. So I think what's helpful is like in certain situations, it's like it's a known thing, we don't do this, and if one of us starts by accident, we call the other one out, and we move back to where we want it to be.
I love that you're so aware that it's a process. I love that you're so aware that it's a process and not. Are you talking on the? You want to say something? Yeah. That it's a process and it's not a destination or a result. There's nobody's ever. Ah! You're so silly. Somebody out there needs to see how cute you are and smile. That's all it is. We're going live just so that one person who's watching live can say, oh, that is so cute. Or, or otherwise. But anyway, so back to you. Yeah, I love that you're aware of it, that you're so honest about where you are in the process.
Yeah, I think all of these like things are a process and a journey, and there's never that perfection. Like I think a lot of people aim for that, whether it's in business, whether it's in health, and whatever it is, they have a vision of where they want to be, and it's almost like that's perfection. And then when I get there, then I get to rest. But from everything I've learned over the past 8 years and building a business and my own health journey, it's a journey, which means you're always growing and there's always where to grow. And perfection, if that's a goal, you're doomed to fail, because no one's perfect and nothing's perfect, but it's about getting better and like closing that gap. And that's what I'm excited about. Like I'm training myself to like think more like on those terms every day. Like, let me just love this journey that I'm on. Like, I have goals of where I want to be. I have goals where we want to be, but right now this is awesome and I'm loving it along the way. And I think that's what makes or breaks, especially in business, loving it or hating it, is feeling like, oh, I need to be there and I'll only be happy when, or no, I have goals, but I could still be happy where I am right now. And this is how we coach our clients in their health journey too. Like, you can love your body right now, but still have goals, right? And in fact, sorry, my Siri is turning on here, so it was distracting me. You're unlikely to reach your goals if you're hating the process or hating your body or hating yourself, because who wants to work through that? So I think it like comes full circle.
Yeah, this totally brings us to the topic of wholeness. How do you create a wholesome life where everything is in alignment, right? And you're talking exactly to that.
Yeah, 100%. We actually just did, this is like really, really helpful. It's helpful from my coach, that he does like a yearly retreat like with his girlfriend, where they take like 2 full days and just plan out their lives. So like, yeah, the business end of it, but like their goals together. And so David and I just did that this year, and we didn't have a full 2 days because my baby's too young to just leave for 2 days. But we took a day off and we retreated and we planned. And one thing that we did, like speaking of wholesome life, is we took the wheel of life. Right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it basically touches on all the different areas of life. Um, and you rate yourself on where you are, and it gains clarity, because I think often, especially in business, we get so anyone who's an entrepreneur out there, and I know you specifically, like your audience is entrepreneurs, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, and then you get obsessed in one section and
Uh,
you get really good at it and everything else falls away, like, to the
yes.
wayside, and you have
Yeah.
to pay such a big price.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, and I think that's the blessing and the curse of being an entrepreneur. Is you're not someone who doesn't care about what you do. You're super passionate, you're super driven, but there's the pluses and the minuses to that. And so I've struggled with that myself, being so focused on one area and be like, whoa, that totally dropped on that wholesome end. And at the end of the day, what do I want? We want to have that, like you said, that balance in life. It's what we all want. No one wants to just thrive in their business, but like have no social life, or be have a lot of money but have a terrible relationship and terrible health. It's like we want it all, and you can have it all, but it's about kind of finding the balance there.
Yeah, I love it. My sister had a YouTube video that she created, and she basically took this like square paper and said the best way to get a well-rounded life is to cut corners, but you're never allowed to cut the same corner twice. So you're cutting a corner here, like giving your kids like a quick snack that maybe wasn't ideal, but that's what we need to do right now because da da da, right? And then like taking a nap instead of going to whatever, and telling a friend that you have to reschedule and not going to class one day or whatever. Like you're constantly cutting corners in the places that you really need to, something has to give, but you're never doing it in the same corner, so that
I
you're
love that.
never, if you take out food multiple times every time, whatever, obviously that's not good for you. But if you do it once because you have to, and that's life, then you're fine. Everything is still
Yeah,
running, everything is still whole, everything is still rounded, and it feels so right. And when you think about it, make sure not to cut the same corner too many times, right? That's
I love
exactly
that. That's such a cool analogy. I'm gonna steal
yeah.
that.
I know. I'm
And
like,
I'll credit
I
her.
love
I'll,
you.
I'll be like, Rebbetzin Bat-Chen's sister said this.
Yeah, no,
Sister-in-law.
she's actually Dr. Saperstein, and she has her own, following. She is an audiologist, and she's awesome helping parents of kids with hearing loss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, get through the whole journey. And that's one of the things that she's amazing. She was the first one to have a podcast before I had one, so she's my
Really?
inspiration.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like,
Well, I'm glad we brought her up. I've never met her, but she sounds great.
she is amazing, definitely. It's funny because usually I'm the oldest, so usually she was my sister, but now I'm turning into her sister because she's so cool.
I love that. That's awesome.
Okay, so let's get back into the wholeness. How does one really create wholeness when you're so into, what you're capable of doing, and you're really into it, and you're all excited, and you're focused, and da da da, right? It feels really good to lean into what you're good at. And it doesn't feel as good to lean into the things that you feel like you failed at, or that you're not good at, or, it's just not my thing. I used to think that I'm not like that mommy type. Like, I don't want to be stuck with my kids all day. I'd rather be working. So it was like sort of my escape. By the way, like I went through such amazing transformations with that, just by being honest with myself and saying like, where'd they even come from and how did I come to that, And
Yeah.
now I'm a lot more mommy. Like, I really spent time with them. I'm able to be present, right? There I am holding a kid. A delicious one too. All my kids are delicious. Um, when they're little, they're just so cute. But like I really worked on that. How do you deal with those feelings of not wanting to face the stuff that's hard, like you were saying?
Yeah. So I think I approach this, and I approach this now, like whatever it is in life that's hard, I think the same way. So I don't think it matters what it is. But I mean, I think the greatest lesson I've learned over this past year and 8 months, I believe it is now, since we launched the academy, is that growth is uncomfortable. And actually, in order to grow, you've got to leave your comfort zone. You've got to step out of your comfort zone, and that's uncomfortable. So, the more you do it, the more discomfort is inviting, I guess, because you start to learn that every time I do this, something good comes from it. So you almost learn to crave it. And I think I could say from the past year and 8 months, I haven't had a single month where I didn't feel uncomfortable, where I wasn't
That
stepping
was
out of
so
my.
powerful. What you just said was so powerful. Like, you retrained your brain to see getting out of your comfort zone as amazing things happen when I do this. Oh,
Yeah,
is
100%.
huge.
And I think that's why so many of us feel stuck in the average, because we keep going back to what's comfortable. And I always like to say, like, you're stuck in your uncomfortable comfort zone. You're not comfortable there. You're not happy, but it's a comfort zone. So you're saying, okay, I'll stick to whatever it is that I'm doing, right? And like we talk obviously about health and fitness in my program. So like feeling super unhealthy, unenergized, not strong, but the reason why you're not making changes is because that feels different. But different doesn't mean bad. And so I think it's just about the more it's a learning process, but it just learns to be more uncomfortable with the discomfort of growing to the point where you almost crave it, where you're like, challenge accepted, you know?
Yeah, that is it's amazing how we can do that, just change the way that we see something, and then now it's no longer scary or whatever, it's just, like, exciting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say anxiety and excitement feel the same way in your body,
Yes.
and that's crazy, that's just blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
How you never think about that because 'cause you're always so focused on, oh my gosh," I'm, like, feeling all the feelings and, like, my stomach is full of, like, knots and da da da, and then it's like, "No, those are butterflies." Like, they're the same, you know?
Your brain it's the exact same thing. That's so funny because that I tell our clients that all the time who we end up accepting to the program who've probably not committed to themselves on that level before. And I'm like, those are the same feelings, right? You should feel both, because that's your body's response to that, to stepping out of your comfort zone in something new. And that's so cool. But yeah, but I don't want to lie. I don't want anyone coming here being like, no, Tova doesn't, challenges are easy and Tova doesn't get fear. No, there are times that I'm like freaking scared. I'm anxious, whatever it is. But what I've learned to do is just to stop and question those emotions and see where they're coming from. And I've learned to do it faster. So I'm able to gain my footing faster because I'm able to see, oh, that's just me growing and I'm scared, but that's okay. So yeah.
It's just like anything else, right? When you make food and you make it for the first time, it takes you much longer than when it's something that you do every single day.
Yes, exactly.
And that's exactly what it means when you're like, change the way you think, catch yourself before let fear take over, all these things. It's like I learned the skill, I practiced the skill, it comes easier to me. So the more, I'm able to click into it. That's really the only change. You're still feeling all the feelings and you're still getting all the things. That's just so incredible.
Yeah,
So
100%. 100%. That's it.
yeah. Oh, I love this. I love this. So I talk about this when I'm talking about our connection with God. I say, most people think that righteous people are always connected and like the opposite, the people who are like, they're never connected. But it's really not true. It's that everybody is connecting and disconnecting. That's life, right? We have those ups and downs, and that's how you know you're alive, right? Even in the monitor.
Right.
So the only difference is that some people got really, really intentional about catching it and connecting, catching it and reconnecting. And some people just don't know how to do that. So to them, it feels heavier to really lift, to say, oh, now I have to connect, as opposed to like, oh, I know what to do. I know what connects me. I know what grounds me. I know what I need to do in order to get connected. it's mind-blowing when you think about it that way, because then it's no longer those are the good people and those are the bad people, or those are the people who are fit, or those and those are the people who are just sitting on the couch. No, it's just that it's harder for you because you've never done it, or it's harder for you because you just don't feel comfortable doing it. You just don't know what
It's
to
a
do
muscle.
sometimes. Right.
Anything that you see someone who's good at or it comes easy to them, I promise you it didn't come easy. It's a muscle. It's just like meditation as well. You know, if you do it once, you might not even feel that connection. It doesn't work. But if you do it consistently, that could be your go-to stress reliever and you know how to zone in, but it's from that practice. Yeah, I think that's where most people give up on any of these things, whether you're talking about relationship, whether you're talking about business, whether you're talking about health. It's like the second it gets boring or
Mm.
mundane, they don't want to do it anymore. But the people who are thriving and whatever it is that you see them doing, it's because they're willing to make it boring. If it only
Mm.
feels new and exciting, that means you're never sticking with anything long enough for it to last. And so it has to be boring, and you have to learn how to get through that.
I love that. Do you know that I talk about that in marriage? Because the biggest thing I get is, how do I bring back the fireworks? That's one of the things that I talk about on my in my intimacy masterclass. And it's like, the beginning there was fireworks, everything was great, and now it's just like blah. So I say it's like an analogy. You're driving and there's all this, in the town there's lots of lights and fireworks and everything. You start driving and you get to the desert and there's like nothing. It looks like a parking lot of lots and lots of people who've just parked in the desert. And you like, what's going on? And they're like, that's it. This is it for now. See, you just, you left town, you got older. This is what it is now. It's just life gets boring, it gets mundane, and like there's nothing to do about it. You just park here and live your life. And most people are like, oh, okay. And they park. And it's like, don't park.
No, that's
Just
so
keep going.
unfortunate. So
Just
unfortunate.
keep going, right? Because the biggest thing is, if you get through it, the better and brighter fireworks are actually on the other side of that desert. They're in the other
Totally.
side of the mundane and the daily and and just the routine, because that's where it gets really, really deep. Your relationship gets so amazing when you went through it, when you actually, had your journey, and you did the kids thing, and you had a hard time with money or whatever, and now you're making it. You're like, okay, we got to the other side. It's because you were able to stay consistent. It's because you were able to survive that, almost boring and mundane period.
And
And
I think,
everyone goes through it. You can't avoid
yeah.
it.
Well, I think also a big part of it is like what, like with every growth journey, it's you have to keep growing or you're regressing. You're not just staying where you are. You don't just like build a great relationship and like, we built it, we're here. It's just like with fitness. I think you can just work out and be like, I'm strong, don't need to work out anymore. Or I ate well for a year, now I could stop. Like it doesn't stay. And it's not like you maintain. I always say maintenance is like an illusion. You're either growing or you're slowly eroding. So I think I see a lot of that with relationships is people, they're active in their dating period. They're dating, they're putting an effort, they're working on their communication. And then it's like, we're married. I mean, it's like if you're not growing, then obviously it's not going to get better. So it's about like that continued growth constantly. Like I like your car analogy, which is like you have to keep driving. You can't just park. And if anything, you're not even stuck in the desert. You're on a slope, slowly going backwards if you don't keep
I love that.
driving.
1 second, I'm going to put her out, and then we'll have a continuation. You can keep talking. Sorry.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, well,
You're doing great.
I try. Sometimes she falls asleep next to me and she's all good, and now she's decided that she doesn't want to play it. So I'm not doing this whole jumping on my head thing.
It's all good.
It wasn't
all
working
good.
for me. Okay, yeah. So holistic life. It's one of those things that is so cliche, like it's like, oh, I just want everything to work out so nicely and everything to just fall into place. But It's not. And it's also not a balance because you can't balance it all. Like it doesn't work to have everything perfectly aligned all the time. Like it exactly is like
Yeah.
that, you know, it's just constantly moving and you have to stay awake. You know, it's not something you could just like automate and then
Yeah.
like, I have a, you know, a life that's all inclusive and everything is great and my life is complete, right?
Yeah. Oh, did you have a question? Or I completely agree with you.
Well, yeah, I want you to get more practical on how to get, you know, really intentional about it.
Okay. In balance with and finding that I said equilibrium that isn't on autopilot.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, well, I think that's the first thing. I think it's just, and I don't want to go on a rant, but I think because of social media, there's so much. Everyone posts what their most perfect parts of their life, which obviously, like, who wants to be like, I'm crying today? Like, obviously, people have crappy days. Every person out there. So even the people who you might follow, who you think are perfect, whether they have the perfect job or the perfect relation, like they don't, and it takes work and they have ups and downs, and from experience working with highly successful people and highly successful coaches out there who have 7 8 figure businesses, they have bad days. So just if you go in with that expectation, you're always going to feel disappointed or less than and comparing yourself to.
Right.
But I think it really is about number one, planning in advance. And if we're talking about balancing the different things that are important in life, I'm just a huge fan of scheduling and scheduling yourself first.
Oh,
And
I
this is
love
something,
that. Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, everybody, yes. You know why? Because all of these things, like, you know, the wheel is all surrounding you and being held by you. Like you are the container, the vessel that's holding all these things.
yes. I just posted about this yesterday. That's so funny. I literally just posted. I never do business posts because I'm focused on helping women in their health and fitness and lifestyle. But I literally did my first ever post yesterday on how in our business we've made multiple 6 figures in a year and a half. And my secret was I make sure to prioritize my health, my mental and physical health overall, because otherwise nothing would happen. I
And I
couldn't.
love that
And
you said
so
pre-plan because that is the only way to do it is to plug yourself in, not to be like, oh, and by the way, I probably should like take a nap sometime around, you know,
it doesn't
here.
happen.
Right. Exactly.
And even more importantly, what I've done this year is I don't just pre-plan, I schedule myself first. So a lot of people, they schedule their work schedule and they say, okay, when am I going to fit in me around it? You won't. Where, like, ask yourself, where do I get my most energy? What are my standards? And standards meaning like, what if I don't do these things for me? Will I not be okay with my life? Is it not worth having my business? Is it not, I'm not enjoying myself, right? The standards. It doesn't mean there's not a reach, right? A reach might be like, I want to go out with my husband 3 nights a week, but our standard is like at least once a week. No matter what, if it's essential for our relationship, we do that. And you clear your calendar and you put all those things in first, right? So for me, I have my Muay Thai night on Monday nights. I go to this class just for me, right? It's just my self care. And like, I don't care how many clients say, Tova, we need a call Monday night. I won't do it because I've already planned me first. So I kind of plan out according to my own energy. And then I schedule the work in after and it fits. And I'm able to go and every few months, like I'll get a little overwhelmed and not like it. So I'll reschedule, but I'll put the me first. And that's how I started going on dates with my daughters when I kept saying, I want to take them on dates and it just didn't happen. Or, even making time to get a bikini wax, honestly, instead of just hoping it happens, but like schedule it in, like those little self care things that you're just like, I want to do it for me. And that's how it works.
I love that you said a date with my daughter. I started doing that once a month. I take a different kid and like a whole day. And it's just so fun. It's so, so fun.
Yeah. And
They
it's so
get
important.
they get so much out of it. And of course, with like in between, I take them like, you know, let's go walking around or whatever. Let's have some quiet time alone. So my kids are constantly getting me now that I've been more intentional about it because they were getting me a lot, just not being, you know, there. Like you could be
Yeah.
there and not be there. And then, you know, it changes everything when you make these things first priority. And I love that you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with what you said. Like, you can be there for hours, but if you're not there, if you're not present, it doesn't matter. And I've listened to like psychiatrists who say like it's better to have 20 minutes a day with your kid where you're fully present and on than 3 hours where you're not fully there. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle because they either have the guilt of like, I can't take care of me because then I'm not with them. But it's like they'd rather have less of a present, energized, positive you than a whole day of a you who's not focused, who's just has no energy, and
Who's
who can't
scrolling
show up
the
for them the way they
phone,
need.
right?
Yeah,
If you're scrolling the
exactly.
phone and you're just like, yeah, whatever, then no, that's not working. It, and it too. With like, you could be in the same room with your husband and he's not there with you, then it doesn't mean anything. Like, it does not
Yeah.
fuel you. It does not make you feel loved. It doesn't anything. But if he comes home and then like you just get to walk around for 20 minutes alone and like, really share each other's days and get really intimate, like, heart to heart, it feels really good.
Oh, yeah. I would add that. Oh my God, when you say struggles, I would add that because oftentimes if you're working together with your husband and you're working in the same home, and you can be like, we're together all day long. But that
Mm,
means nothing unless you're also making the time to really grow and bond. And that's something that we've also been working on is like, yeah, we're together all day, but who cares if we didn't even have the time for you to tell me that our daughter has a birthday party tomorrow night? Like we need to have not just time together, but I think there's a difference between time and quality time. And that
exactly.
quality time is essential.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Oh, this is so great. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I know.
So how could people reach you? How could they, work with you? How could they join the thing that you have?
The thing that I have, that's what we call it. It's the
Yeah.
official name. So just message me the thing and I'll know what you're saying. Yeah, so first of all,
Make
first of
fun,
all,
make fun. It's all good.
there's enough things to remember out there. So
I know it's called Ignite something. Okay. So I'm not
Ignite Fitness Academy. No,
like
it's
exactly.
you did
I'm
this
like,
whole entire interview with a kid crawling on you. So the fact that you remember my name is impressive.
no, I remembered it was Ignite, and I'm like, the Ignite thing. And then I'm like, the thing, right?
The thing. So yeah, Ignite Fitness Academy. So I'm first of all I'm on Instagram as Ignite Fitness for Women. I'm on Facebook as Tova Eastman, and essentially all you need to do is DM me and reach out. We're very specific on who we accept, who we work with. We definitely want to make sure we're working with women who are serious about seeing those long-term results, not looking for a quick fix. So we do have an interview process, application process, and all of that. But yeah, we can just chat.
That sounds amazing. That is really
Yeah,
cool. I'm also into people who are long term and not quick fixes because it's
yeah,
very upsetting when you get like this, like, I'm just gonna quick fix, fix it
yeah,
quick.
yeah. Tell me how to change my whole life in 12 weeks. All right.
Well, I used to have a session, a 90-minute session. I called it Fix Your Husband in 90 Minutes. And it was like the first offering I put out there because I really wanted people to like get how impossible that was. Like, you do not fix your husband, period. But if you sit
Right.
down, if you sit down and work on something really deep within yourself, you will change yourself in 90 minutes and then it will trickle down to your husband. But
That's
the
beautiful. And
name,
that's where,
the name,
yeah.
yeah, the name didn't stick because it really made people annoyed. They're like, my husband is not a washing machine. I can't fix him. Anyway, yeah.
just good clickbait. Like tricked you. You can't. If you're one
Yeah,
of those people, think you
exactly.
can. But yeah,
But
but that's
I
of
never
course like
I
we're
never
dealing
put
with.
the I never put it live because people just like, raged. When I put the question up in the Facebook group of like, all our network, and it was like, what do you guys think of this? I had this idea and I got like 157, comments of no way. But I was like, I know it's
Right.
something possible. I just think it's really cool when this is all they want to do. That's like,
Yeah.
sell them what they want, give them what they need. They want to fix their husband. He's the problem. From then, I've already totally, re-niched. I'm not working with those people anyway now.
Right.
So
Right.
it doesn't
No,
doesn't matter.
that's yeah.
If you think you need
Exactly.
to fix your husband, then go ahead, keep trying. It's all good. We're all
Right.
here,
It all comes down to us. I feel like everything we're talking about and why I'm having so much fun here with you is because like whatever our niche is, what we're helping people with, it all comes down to the same thing, which is just like that self-development at the end of the day. Like everything starts from you taking care of yourself, your mindset, your body, all of that on all planes. And then it's like a ripple effect to everyone else. But like if you can't take care of you and be open and go through that raw, like working on yourself, all these things that you want, you're just gonna fall short of it.
yes.
And like you said, marriage, like of course you're like it's not a quick fix because it's a constant journey. If you think there's three things you plug into your marriage and then it floats, it's like you're looking for something that's impossible.
Right. And by the way, like it's amazing because when you're trying to fix your husband, then there's nothing to do. You could try all day. But when you finally sit down and really fix something within yourself,
Oh
it's
my God.
almost like magic how quickly it fixes itself.
I mean, the women in our program have, and they don't come for marriage, right? Have their husbands. I got a message from a husband this week who thanked me, private message me saying, "Thank you so much for everything you've done for my wife and her fitness and health. You have changed her entire life." And that affects how she's showing up in the home and their relationship and all of that. And I've gotten these messages from husbands before, and it's so true. Like, and they weren't even focused on their marriage but
Right.
or maybe they weren't, of course they're focused on their marriage, but they weren't focused in the program on their marriage, but just by showing up better for themselves, it stems to everyone else. And so I think that's
Yeah.
people like to avoid the deep work. And it's just like, okay, give me the simple like solution to this problem. And it's like always the answer comes back to you and
Not
taking
only
care of
that,
you.
but all your problems are always connected, right? And they all stem from you trying to avoid something or you trying
Yeah.
to run away from whatever it is that you're feeling because it's just too uncomfortable. So it's
Yeah.
like either you're going to work through it or you're going to keep working through all the other stuff that's not falling into place
Yeah.
because you're trying to avoid it, right?
Yeah. Choose
And
your hard, right?
it's really powerful. It's so powerful. Oh,
Yeah. I'm having so much fun. I feel like people will watch us and just be like, shut up already, you guys. We get it. We care about, and we're just like having the best time. Oh my God, let's keep sharing ideas.
no, no, you know what? People who are watching are also into this because they want so badly to have that holistic life, because like here's the thing. You can't live in compartments. I mean, you can, but you eventually there is something that holds it all together. You cannot
Right.
compartmentalize, God. He has to be in part of everything that you do. You can't compartmentalize yourself because you are everything you do, right? Like you are in
Yes.
everything you do. So those are things that are just not they don't fall into a box. They don't, I am going to schedule this in right now and then not think about it for the rest of no, like you have to think about how you feel and what you're up to all the time with every single aspect. You said that your people are affected by, their marriage is affected by what they're doing. My people, their weight and their health is affected by what I'm doing because
I'm
we work
sure.
we work on the marriage and then suddenly it's like they give themselves permission to really take care of themselves and to push through and whatever. And one lady lost so much weight as a side effect, and I did not even know while we were working for like a 6-month period. She
Wow.
at the end, she only told me, she's like, and by the way, I also lost a ton of weight and was able to like get through that plateau I was stuck on, whatever, because we got through this like one huge thing. We were working on something really big in her
Wow. That's
past that we healed.
beautiful.
It was like, wow.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to your self-worth, right? Like showing up in your marriage. If you have more self-worth, you feel I'm worthy of showing up for me, which means I show up for them. I'm worthy of taking care of my body because it's worth something. And I think that's often where it stems down to some very simple roots, all whatever we are struggling with, and it's about discovering that and working on those muscles, right? Like those internal muscles.
I love that. Oh, I love that. Yeah, we could go on forever, guys. So we're gonna, wrap it up here. Um, so I just wanted to let you know, guys, if you want the 5 surprising ways to improve your marriage, here it is. It's connectedforreal.com/free. And you can have that as a gift. It's a really fun little PDF with 5 surprising ways to improve your marriage. And none of them have to do with your husband, by the way, just a sneak peek secret.
We're not going to do the other type of teasers anymore.
Oh,
straight to the
no,
point.
I am very, very, clear. I've grown so much in the last 3 years. My whole business started when the girl that was jumping on top of me, and during her pregnancy, things started shifting, and then eventually I just, um, fly. So it's amazing
Amazing.
to see what happens when you're willing to go through all the stages, right? Because, like, you could say, "Oh, I don't wanna be that, so I just won't do anything." Like, no, do it and then get rid of it and keep going. Like, don't stop yourself.
Completely, completely. And you never know. Anyone watching this, you could literally be helping other people do that one day, right? And I think some of the best stories, like yourself, right? You shared a little with me, is like you went through it, you get it, and you saw success, and now you're helping other women do the same thing. And I think those are the people who are so inspirational when you're relatable, right? And so it's so cool because sometimes just as someone watching, you might be like, oh, maybe, oh, I wish that could be me one day. Like just feeling like that. Like not only could you feel that way when you get there, you might be doing the same thing and helping other people. And that's almost like inspiration for yourself. So
Yeah.
just a cool thing to think about.
Yes. Sometimes I go through difficulties and I'm like, "I bet I have to go through this and feel all these feelings because one day I'm gonna have to help someone go through that too," right? It gives me a little bit of strength to get through it.
Yeah. It's just and that's your mindset also. It's just like seeing it as an opportunity instead of an obstacle. Like this
Yeah,
awesome. This is an opportunity for me to show up better and help someone else who went through this, hopefully before they have to go through it, right?
you're totally
So
I
yeah,
love that. I love it. Thank you so much, Tova. It was such a
of course.
pleasure. Thank you everyone who's watching live and those who are watching on the replay. It's so fun. Um, I look forward to speaking with you more because I love this conversation.